Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Food School Smarter, Stronger, Leaner podcast on a mission to change the way the world eats. My name is Angela Shurina. I'm a certified nutritionist, health, nutrition, brain performance coach, and just someone with a lot of passion to help you guys to learn how to use nutrition as a tool to feel, look, and do your absolute best. Guys, today on Tuesday, we are continuing our conversation about brain types. Brain types that you can learn more about in a new book by Daniel Amen, Seven Neuroscience Secrets of Feeling Good Based on Your Brain Type. Daniel Amen, in his clinic, they brain scan a lot of people, and based on the scans that they get, they judge the healthiness of the brain, and then they help people to address certain brain disorders, either present or in the near future, right? So check out the book. It just came out today. Yesterday, we talked about the first brain type, persistent brain type, the one when finds it easy to focus, to plan, to concentrate on the goals, to just get after it, seemingly putting blinders on. And it seems like, a great brain type, but it often has troubles with being flexible, with this approach to life and work, like it's my way or highway. Also being lower on cooperation. Obviously, it's my way or highway. It's not really great concept for cooperation. Persistent brain type also might find it hard to go through transitional times in life or deal with changing situations in the environment when, there is pandemic or some war action happening, and just a lot of things are changing fast, right? So persistent brain type might find it difficult to deal with. And then also, more often than not, it looks at the wrong side of things, finds what can or is wrong with things or people. So you can learn more about persistent brain type and what to do to fortify the positive sides and to enhance underdeveloped sides, allowing persistent type to get more creativity and mental flexibility and cooperation skills, right? So learn more about that in our yesterday's episode. Today, we are talking about the next brain type, that is spontaneous brain type. And it's kind of almost opposite to the persistent brain type that we talked about yesterday. Spontaneous, high on qualities like creativity and out-of-the-box thinking and risk-taking, and they're insatiably curious about a lot of things. They usually would have a lot of hobbies and interests. Today it's, playing music, tomorrow it's skating, the day after it's, cooking or something else. And a lot of great things, like usually these people are really fun to be around, at least for some time. They like surprises, they make surprises, they are usually a happier bunch, and they do seem to be more optimistic and looking at the brighter side of things, among a lot of entrepreneurs. Richard Branson, actually, I think one of the spontaneous brain types. Because again, high tolerance for risk, that's the spontaneous type. But what can be not so good about that type? Well, short attention span and not ability to focus unless you're really into something. Impulsivity, not the best skills of planning ahead and making more rational choices, sometimes safer choices, a lot of restlessness, ADD or ADD, I always forget this acronym, attention deficit disorder or hyperactivity deficit disorder. Adventurous is a good side. Disorganized and messy can be a thing. What else? Again, having problems focusing on things, especially things that are more on the boring routine side, planning for the future, controlling impulses, making good judgments about things. Expressing emotions and understanding other people's emotions can be also a challenge for spontaneous types. And why is that? Well, actually, because prefrontal cortex does not seem to be very active according to brain scans again, and in Dr. Daniel Amen's clinic. So prefrontal cortex seems to be underactive, and specifically also spontaneous brain type seem to be lower on dopamine. And I think I have a mixed brain type, and that also can happen, guys. So we not just, either persistent or spontaneous, or we have other 3 types of brain. We can be mixed. So I have a feeling I might be on a side of persistent plus spontaneous. Sometimes really focused, sometimes super out of the box thinking, sometimes super flexible, sometimes not at all. I guess depending on what neurotransmitters are more active at this specific moment. So I find it for myself, I need to boost serotonin, as we talked about yesterday, and you will understand why if you tune into our episode yesterday. But today we're talking about prefrontal cortex and dopamine. So for spontaneous type, what seems to be missing a lot, for one reason or the other, dopamine. Dopamine, what is dopamine? In the book, it's called Salesman to Pursue, that persuades you to pursue a better life. Dopamine is a molecule of more, of drive, and it has kind of like a double function. One function is to make you go after things, desire things, crave things, and especially things that are challenging. A lot of dopamine will help to focus and to bring resources towards pursuing a harder goal, right? When your dopamine is high, you actually are able not just to desire or crave things, but also to work hard for long-term goals and plan and focus, even when things are boring and challenging. Also, dopamine has this second role. It helps us to control impulses and to focus. And it doesn't just help us to crave things. It helps us to stay focused on the challenges, on the hard work. It helps us to plan ahead. It helps us to control impulses. From one side, it makes us want more, crave more. But on the other hand, dopamine also helps us to tame impulses and cravings when we have in mind a bigger goal that we feel is really meaningful and important to us, right? So proper function of dopamine in our brain helps us to set goals and go through challenges, endure challenges required to achieve that goal, to pursue that goal. So spontaneous type, you get like that, some dopamine boost, and you want and crave things, but it kind of like disappears very fast. So you find it hard to actually focus on something, anything really, for a long period of time. But also, Dr. Daniel Amen, they think that because of this kind of unpredictable nature of dopamine, spontaneous brain types seem to seek stimulation, things that stimulate dopamine more often than not, because they feel that they lack it and their neurons crave it. And so they would go for all kinds of behaviors and things that stimulate dopamine, like eating highly addictive processed, usually sugary and very pleasurable things, right? That can lead to weight gain if you constantly seek things with a lot of sugar and flavor and enhancers of all kinds, or it can lead to pure addictions when you go for alcohol or drugs. Or somebody can become an adrenaline junkie and always seek out those adrenaline rush type of experiences, sometimes forgetting about safety and not being cautious about possible negative consequences to one's life, right? So spontaneous brain time has a lot of these issues because, again, of low dopamine or just not balanced dopamine picture in our brain. So what can you do if you are on that spontaneous side of things? If you have ADD-like symptoms, if you're jumping all over the place, you are an outside of the box kind of thinker and creative, but it's hard for you to actually sit down and accomplish projects, right? What can you do? Well, what you need to do is to stimulate your dopamine and to engage in eating and behavior practices that will help you to get more of that dopamine and to be more sensitive to that dopamine. Okay, so what do we eat and what do we do to make more dopamine, to be more sensitive to it, to become more of a focused, long-term thinking person on top of your creative abilities and your fun personality and adventurous personality, right? What can you do? So let's start with food. Higher protein diets, lower in processed foods and sugary foods and foods that spike your dopamine and they make it crash. So foods, again, higher protein, like even keto diet, things lower in sugar, lower in carbohydrates, seem to be pretty amazing for that spontaneous time, especially if you are an extreme spontaneous time. So higher protein, definitely, especially protein that is high in L-tyrosine, that is precursor of dopamine, basically a thing that is dopamine made of. Where can you find L-tyrosine? Especially rich in L-tyrosine are the next foods: salmon, lean beef, pork, chicken, tofu. Also, next foods are either high in L-tyrosine or seem to be boosting dopamine. So we have almonds, bananas, avocados, eggs, beans, especially lentils, dark chocolate. Dark chocolate, by the way, again, it helps to balance a lot of neurotransmitters. Obviously, to get the benefit, you need the highest possibly dark chocolate you can eat. I always go for 100%. So again, protein-rich foods, almonds, bananas, avocados, eggs, beans, dark chocolate. And guys, also don't forget that you don't have to have a spontaneous type to necessarily use these strategies to benefit you. So what I usually do, because I seem to be a mixed type brain, when I feel like I need more focus and I need to tone down my spontaneous creativity and I need to just sit my butt on the chair and get the work done. So what I do is I stick with a low carb diet. When I feel like I need more creativity and flexibility and positive thinking, that's where I can increase my healthy foods, carbohydrate consumption, like eating more sweet potatoes, bananas, chickpeas, things like that, right? So you don't have to use the same thing every day. Use it on by need basis. But in general, if you are on a spontaneous side, try lowish carbohydrate, higher protein diets. Exercise. What's especially good for spontaneous brain type is doing something heart pumping. Basically, high intensity aerobic workouts is your thing to try to do. Meditation helps to increase the activity of prefrontal cortex, helps to focus, to concentrate. Meditation seems to be balancing out any brain type. Yesterday we also mentioned meditation, how it can help to develop mental flexibility, but it can also enhance focus and attention span, right? So meditation helps to increase that dopamine in prefrontal cortex, the one that is in charge of focus, of long-term thinking and planning. On the food side, let's finish the food side. Not so much on the food, but on the supplement side. You can supplement with, for sure, multivitamin, multimineral, omega-3 fatty acids, probiotics. Those are good for all brain types. But then on top of that, specifically for spontaneous brain type, you get L-tyrosine. That is the amino acid that dopamine is made of. So sometimes you have hard times getting it from food, so supplement with that. And on top of that, with B6, B12 vitamin, because those are needed for most of the neurotransmitters to function, right? I would usually recommend to supplement with the whole B complex. L-theanine also helps to balance out and boost a lot of neurotransmitters, dopamine including. Plant compounds, supplements, Panax ginseng, ashwagandha, try them. Ashwagandha in general seems to balance out things. It's an adaptogenic herb. Adaptogenic means it helps to bring things in balance. So try it. Your spice, curcumin or turmeric also helps with dopamine, with spontaneous brain. Actually, curcumin and turmeric help with a lot of neurotransmitters, right? Just in general, good spice for a healthy, balanced brain. If you are experiencing a lot of problems with your maybe personality or brain type, I would recommend to get it as a supplement that is more bioavailable in most of the time than just simply eating turmeric. On the behavior side, what else can you do? Sleep well, that is for sure, guys. Sleeping well will balance out a lot of neurotransmitters. Lack of sleep schedule that is all over the place will make your all kinds of neurotransmitters and neurochemistry unbalanced. So good sleep is a foundation of a well-balanced brain. Light exposure, proper light exposure in the morning, bright light during the day, natural light, and then at night not seeing bright light, that is also a foundation of a healthy, balanced brain. For dopamine specifically, let me look at my notes here. Massages, again, also good for most of the brain types, helps to increase all the healthy neurotransmitters. Dopamine including, massage seems to increase dopamine by like 30% after one session. Then we get music, amazing for dopamine, seems to boost, increase dopamine and a lot of feel-good neurotransmitters. And that's about it, guys. So let me repeat, for spontaneous brain type, higher on protein compared to persistent brain that was lower in protein. So higher in protein for spontaneous brain seem to be the answer. So upgrade your protein intake, especially animal protein intake, because that one has all the amino acids compared to plant-based protein that usually does not have all the amino acids unless you supplement with a special supplement that has all the amino acids. Then we get foods like almonds, bananas, avocados, eggs, lentils, dark chocolate, boost your dopamine. Compounds and supplements, multivitamin and multimineral, omega-3 fatty acids, probiotics, L-tyrosine to create dopamine, that is a precursor of dopamine. B vitamins, of course, for any healthy brain. L-theanine also helps with a lot of neurotransmitters. That is a compound found in most teas, especially green tea is high in it. Your spice is turmeric. On the behavioral side of things, so we get heart pumping exercise, we get sleep, light exposure, we get meditation, massages, music. And guys, I almost forgot that on cognitive side of exercise or activities, setting goals for spontaneous type is crucial. And if you are an entrepreneur, if you are self-employed professional, what also can help you to utilize your spontaneous brain genius downplaying the negative effects of not being a good planner or organizer, what can help you is to hire a personal assistant who is not your brain type, but more on a persistent brain type, who gets things done, who is very organized and cautious. They will balance you out. If you are an entrepreneur, having on your team someone with that opposite brain time will really help you to get shit done while you are running out there, being spontaneous, getting new ideas. You need someone who will be more of a routine and planning kind of person, right? That is just a side note. Also, a side note that I got from all different sources on neuroscience and gut health and nutrition. Intermittent fasting really helps with dopamine sensitivity. So I highly recommend also for spontaneous brain types to try intermittent fasting. And by the way, guys, a lot of things that I recommend to you, they might not be a part of your nature, of things that you do naturally, because what we do naturally usually lead us to the situation that we are in today, right? So if you have spontaneous brain type and your eating habits and protein intake is all over the place, and I tell you to eat protein and intermittent fast, that might be not your favorite thing, at least not at first. And it doesn't mean that that's unnatural to you or it doesn't work for you. No, it's just a pattern that you've been doing for a while, and it might not be working out for you all that well, right? So if you want to downgrade your spontaneity, at least on some days, then trying intermittent fasting, high protein diets, setting goals, getting a very organized personal assistant, sleeping on time, even though you might be hating routine, might be exactly the thing that you need to do to reap the benefits of your spontaneous, a very creative type, but at the same time get things done and make progress and not completely destroy your life and your health while doing all these crazy, spontaneous, creative things, right? So I hope there's probably a lot of information to think about. So re-listen to this episode, absorb it, ask questions, pick up the book if you're really curious to learn more about all these brain types. There is a lot of information in this book. So pick up the book, ask me questions. I'm going to be also writing a blog on Wednesday, so I'm going to announce that probably on Thursday. Share this episode with other people, especially on the spontaneous side. Share, ask questions. Thank you for tuning in, guys, and till next time, as usual, eat better daily.